I think anyone who has spent any time talking to climate scientists or reading scientific studies or just seeing what is happening to our climate knows that we're changing the climate and we better do something about it. In the last 5 years, in a couple of areas, one of which is that it's very clear that you create feedbacks from warming the planet. One of the feedbacks is that as you melt ice, you replace something that is white and reflects sunlight with, in the case of the Arctic, blue ocean, which absorbs sunlight, or in the case of glaciers, with the ground, which tends to be brown, which again absorbs sunlight. So you get this feedback where as you melt ice, more sunlight is absorbed by that area and it warms up, melting more ice, and you get a positive melting of when the Arctic ice melts, it doesn't raise sea levels because the Arctic is floating on the water, so it's like ice cubes in a glass of water. It's already displacing water. But the great ice sheets in Greenland and Antarctica have enough water to raise sea levels 250 feet if they melt in their entirety, and they are already starting to melt faster than anyone thought. So there is a grave risk, and people have been revising their models of how much sea levels will rise if we don't get our act together. And the latest predictions are as much as 4 feet, 5 feet, or higher by the end of the century, which would obviously it would displace 100 million people around the globe, and it would be devastating to places like Louisiana, the Carolinas, Florida. Obviously, we'd lose every beach in the world would disappear. The problem can be solved. It's a matter of transforming the U.S. economy to run on clean energy, and the technology exists. There's a bill that the House of Representatives passed that the Senate will be considering in the fall, which requires a dramatic shift away from polluting sources of energy to clean energy sources over a 4-decade period. So it's a gradual, steady but gradual approach. But I think it would not only have huge benefits to the environment, but it would be a great source of jobs. I think it's very clear that clean energy is going to be one of the major job-creating industries of this century, not just because of global warming, but also because it's pretty clear that we're not making any more fossil fuels, particularly oil. And I think you're going to see the price of oil, once we're out of this global recession, go back to record levels. Ultimately, we need pollution-free energy because energy is the single biggest source of all forms of pollution, whether it's air pollution, local air pollution, or global warming pollution. So we need a bill that simultaneously restricts greenhouse gases and accelerates clean energy into the marketplace. And this bill, which has come out of the House and is being considered by the Senate, pushes clean energy, energy efficiency, renewable energy, solar, wind, into the marketplace at a great pace. We need to the conservatives, the fossil fuel interests are going to filibuster this bill. And so you need 60 votes to beat a filibuster, and that means you're going to need some moderate senators of both parties to vote for it, and Maine has 2 key senators, Snowe and Collins. And if you care about the environment, if you want to preserve Maine as the state of Maine and not see Maine turn into Washington, D.C., by a flooded version of Washington, D.C. by the end of the century, then I think it's incumbent on everyone to let their senators know that we need to pass a climate and clean energy bill.